Hi, welcome to this Chris Ryan Golf video. Wanted to do a video today on pitching and more importantly distance control. The closer we get to the green, the more important the distance control gets. So when we stood on the tee, often we'll miss the target through directional issues, so it might be left, it might be right. The closer we get to the green, often we'll find that the direction, so controlling where the ball goes, isn't too difficult, but controlling how far the ball goes is more problematic. So we probably should spend a little bit more time during practice on controlling how far we hit the golf ball. So with pitch shots, we're talking sort of anything less than a full swing, probably 20 to 30 yards all the way up to sort of 80, 90, 100 yards. And that's an area where we're going to find on the golf course we get a lot of shots from that distance. And we really need to have some way of regulating how far that golf ball goes. Too many times we see on the golf course a golfer standing over the ball, and if I could stop them just before they take the club away and say, how are you going to hit this ball 56 yards, they probably wouldn't have an answer for me. It's more of a case of, well, I was going to sort of guess where the club went back to and sort of hoped it went that distance. What we need to try and do is put some measures in there which give us a way of regulating how far that ball goes. Now, there's different ways of doing this. I carry 3 wedges. I carry a 51, a 55 and a 59. So I've got 3 wedges and I've got certain checkpoints I have, and I'll know how far that ball goes from a standard setup, standard pitch setup from each position. So the ones I would look at and the ones I tend to use would be one where my left arm works to about here. So I've got 3 different golf clubs. I hit shots from here and they're going to go 3 different distances with 3 slightly different flights, which are going to give different amounts of rollout depending on the conditions. The next one would be this position here, and then the final one would be this one here. So I've got 3 wedges, I've got 3 positions with each of those wedges, that's 9 yardages. So when I get on the golf course, I'm faced with, let's say, 66 yards, I need to land the ball 66 yards, I'm going to find which of those is closest, I'm going to go to that club, work to that position, and then I may well adapt my setup to change the flight or the distance that the ball goes. So for example, if I've got 66 yards to go and I know that this golf club from this position goes 70 yards, so maybe 4 yards too far, I can hit that shot from that setup, but I might go down the handle by, let's say, an inch. Now, I can't tell you how much that's going to take off that distance, but I know it's going to be just less than 70. If I've got to land at 66, I'm probably going to be in the right ballpark. So what we want to try and do is have our standard setup with a pitch shot. So get yourself into that position there, and then with those 3 wedges, try and find 3 different positions, or maybe 2 if you start with 2, and you can always add a 3rd later stage, and figure out how far the ball carries from there. The ones I work to would be what I class as a clock face. So if you imagine I'm standing in the clock, up 12 o'clock above me, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock. The first one would be my left arm to what would be a 7 o'clock position, then a 9 o'clock, then a 10 o'clock. So those are the 3 I work on. So what I'm going to do is on the golf course, my practice swings are going to be around feeling that left arm position and making sure I can hit that every single time. Once I've done that a few times, I can move into the golf ball and I can start to hit that shot. Tempo is really key. We want to make sure we've got a nice smooth tempo and we're going at least the same distance on the way through as we went on the way back. We certainly don't want to get 9 o'clock here and then a sort of decelerated finish. So if we can focus on making sure that however far the club goes back this side, it goes at least that far on the way through, that's going to keep the tempo nice. The reason we want to do this is that as the closer we get to the green, we've got to be able to dial in that yardage a lot more accurately. You're going to find from 20, 30, 40, 50 yards, directionally you're not going to be too bad. But it's judging the distance which is far more difficult. So one of the goals that I want you to set yourself, and do this on the golf course, is make sure that when you've got a pitch shot, when you're over the golf ball and you're just about to take the club away, if someone were to stop you and ask you what you were going to do, you could answer them straight away. You could tell them that you've got your 55-degree club with your standard setup, you're going to swing it to 9 o'clock, that's going to go 58 yards, you've gone down the handle, etc, etc, etc. So you've built up an image in your head of how that ball's going to get close to that flag. Don't just stand there and will the ball close, because that's not going to work. You're going to have limited success. So a really good goal for the golf course is to make sure that over the shot you have got in your mind an exact way of how that ball is going to get from where it is to the green. Now that might be a slightly lower ball flight that's going to release, it may be a slightly higher ball flight that's going to stop quick. Depends on what you see and how you see it. So what I'd like you to do, especially over the winter, is really start to practice those yardages and make sure you can hit the ball different yardages. And all you need is a few base points. So I personally have got 9, as I've said, I've got 9 base points. And what I would do is go to the closest one and then adapt something in my setup to create the ball or create the shot that I need. So I haven't got quite the right distance. I can go down the handle, or I can move the ball a little bit further back in my stance, or I can do something to change that ball flight and get it exactly at the number I want. Do this and you're going to find that a lot of those shots get a lot closer to that flag. So I'm just going to turn this way. I'm just going to hit a couple of those shots, a couple of different yardages, and just let you see the difference in the swings.